this evening. Right now, we're awaiting President Trump's arrival at Ellington Airport. Want to take a live look there for you. There's Senator Ted Cruz. They're waiting to meet and welcome the president. Senator Cruz will join the president on stage tonight at the rally at Toyota Center. 18,000 people, we understand, will be inside Toyota Center to hear from President Trump as well as Senator Cruz. Once former rivals, now President Trump giving a glowing endorsement and his support behind Senator Cruz in this very contentious Senate race.
So in 2 years, we've gone from Lion Ted to what did he say today?
Beautiful Ted.
Beautiful
Texas Ted.
Politics makes strange bedfellows, as the old saying goes, and now we see why. Senator Cruz is there. He's waiting for President Trump. Our Jason Miles is inside Toyota Center where the crowd is waiting. That event kicks off at about 6:30. Jason?
Hey there, guys. Yeah, somebody just started the wave a few moments ago. Everybody got up, held their signs up, kind of in unison, as you might see at a sports event. After all, we're in a basketball arena, right? I'm going to duck down. That way you can see the podium behind me. That's where President Trump will speak tonight and endorse formally Ted Cruz, as you mentioned, his former bitter rival. Thousands of people are in here, many of them camping out since early this morning. Many others since late last night, the 10 o'clock news last night. I know we had people who were already out in their chairs with their blankets, hunkering down for the night to be among the first people to get inside. Many more people are outside and will watch the proceedings tonight on jumbotrons or big monitors outside. They're calling it kind of a tailgate party. There's a big section over here to my right that is reserved. I'm interested to see who's sitting there, perhaps some elected officials or some donors. We understand that President Trump will be meeting with donors here at the arena upon his arrival before he comes out and greets all of these supporters, many of them now with signs in hand, signs that say things like "Keep America Great," "Women for Trump," "Get out and vote." And certainly that's what they want people to do, specifically for Ted Cruz and other Republicans. We'll check back in again coming up at 5 o'clock. Guys.
Jason, thanks so much. Now, of course, this is a rally for Ted Cruz with a heavy hitter, the president, but Beto O'Rourke, the Democratic congressman and the challenger, he's not to be outdone. He's been rallying all across the Houston area today. This is a live picture of him down in Rosenberg, staging his own rally, trying to gather his supporters on this very first day of early voting.
Yeah, a much more intimate scene there. And we understand that President Trump is arriving right now at Ellington Airport. Just a few minutes here before 5 o'clock. Once he gets there, it won't be long before he makes his way to downtown Houston. Taking a live look here, Air Force One preparing to land at Ellington Airport. Like we said, it probably won't take very long once they make their arrival there at Ellington.
I don't think the president will have much traffic from Ellington to downtown Houston. It'll be a straight shot. Always fun to watch Air Force One either take off or land. You know, it's a historic plane. It's a big event. So he's arriving. He's probably, 15 minutes late, but that's not bad given the kind of schedule he has. So he'll be landing here shortly at Ellington. Then he'll be whisked away straight to Toyota Center, where you've got about 18,000 enthusiastic fans inside Toyota Center, untold thousands outside who are set up at a tailgating section who can watch the event, which starts at 6:30 from a large screen television.
Yeah, and this is perhaps the boost that Senator Cruz needs, whether he needs it or not. Just from the show of people here, it's likely a big boost for him as he heads into the final weeks here of this highly contentious, very competitive Senate race with Democratic Congressman Beto O'Rourke.
Yeah, we've been talking about how close this race has been. It caught some people by surprise to see how far Beto O'Rourke has come. I've interviewed both men. Last year, Beto O'Rourke would show up at a rally and his campaign people told me they might have 6 people. Now he shows up, they've got thousands. He's gotten more money in campaign funds than Ted Cruz, some $60 million, I think, almost twice as much as Senator Cruz. However, the numbers in terms of voters favor Ted Cruz in the state of Texas, more Republicans, so turnout will be key for Beto O'Rourke in terms of getting younger voters out, getting Latino voters out. So we'll just have to see. That's why there's such enthusiasm and so much support here on the early day voting.
Political analysts say that Cruz, of course, is working the base, that strong Republican base here, especially in Texas. And, you know, they've also said that President Trump has a friend now in Texas, in Ted Cruz, rather, once foes, but a friend now because he's helping keep the Senate in the Republican column as well.
So often we've been asking Senator Cruz, hey, that contentious presidential primary when President Trump said so much about Cruz's wife, about his dad, calling him Lying Ted. He simply said about a year after that, he said, look, that was politics. It was not personal. He said, it's up to me to look out for the people of Texas. So once Donald Trump became president, he said, it was in my best interest to work in the best interest of the citizens of Texas and get on board with the program. And so that is what he has done. And the president about to land here, and Senator Cruz there at the airport waiting for him.
Yes, before President Trump took off from Andrews Air Force Base earlier this afternoon on his way here to Houston, he talked more about that relationship with Ted Cruz. And he talked about how Ted Cruz loves Texas. And President Trump adds that he loves Texas. So the two men together wanting the best for Texas, and among those things, of course, talking about the border. That's been a big issue this week. President Trump tweeting a lot yesterday on Sunday, talking about the caravan. Thousands expected from Honduras and Guatemala. The president addressing that issue and, quite frankly, likely giving us a preview of what some of the talking points may be this evening tonight at the rally.
Absolutely, as we watch Air Force One now on the ground at Ellington Airport, south of Houston. The president, of course, will then be coming down the steps. We're probably going to wait for that and watch the president leave that plane. He'll be greeted at the bottom of the steps by Senator Cruz. Cruz and O'Rourke have had, what, two debates, I believe, so far.
Right.
One was canceled because of the confirmation hearing for Brett Kavanaugh. You have to remember that Senator Cruz was on the confirmation committee hearing, on the confirmation committee, and so he was unable to do the second debate that was scheduled in Houston. So they ended up having two separate debates, both contentious, both trying to rally their bases to come out and vote. And vote they have. Today's the very first day, as we've been talking about, of early voting for the midterms. A record turnout, we're told, in Harris County.
And President Trump also speaking earlier today about Beto O'Rourke. President Trump said that Beto O'Rourke is highly overrated. And you mentioned the debates that both he and Senator Ted Cruz have taken part in, and President Trump said that he felt as though Beto was beaten in both of those debates.
And so we'll have to see come Election Day how it turns out. You look at the various polls that we've been following for weeks and weeks, and what got our attention, there were a few polls that came out and said the two men were about 8 points apart, then it was 4 points apart, then it was a dead heat. Then the most recent polls had Senator Cruz up anywhere from 5 to 8 points. So you just don't know. It depends, like even Senator Cruz has said, turnout, turnout, turnout. And so that's why there's a lot of money spent. Remember what the president said, that he promised he would come to Houston and have a giant rally for Senator Ted Cruz. He makes the third big-time person from the White House to campaign for Cruz. The first one was Donald Trump Jr. Vice President Pence was in Dallas not long ago to rally for Senator Cruz. And now here comes the ace, so to speak, the President of the United States showing up for a rally. And a lot of people are here and ready and excited about the president.
The greatest and most important political endorsement right there.
That's
from
true.
The President of the United States. And the President, of course, applauding Ted Cruz, Senator Cruz, on what he calls great tax cuts, regulation cuts, things that the party are talking about and things that the president is also in agreement with as well.
The two different talking points for both candidates. Senator Cruz has said, look, Beto O'Rourke does not stand for the principles of Texas in regards to cutting regulations, immigration, health care, security at the border. That's his stance. Beto O'Rourke has countered with, Senator Cruz has tried scare tactics, talking about how he doesn't believe in security. He said we should vote for our better selves and not be guided by fear. So two very different camps in this campaign. And it's been fascinating to watch from a news standpoint because both men, I think, have done a good job reaching out to their base. The question is the voters. As we see somebody coming out now, put the blocks in front of Air Force One, and soon they'll open the doors and President Trump will be coming out. I don't know who's with him. I haven't heard whether the First Lady is with him. But
no,
we'll
we
see.
have not. We'll see here shortly.
They probably would have said.
When he departs the plane. But you know, you were talking about just this race itself and how big it's gotten. And then today, with this historic voter turnout that we've seen, more than 57,000 people early voting.
Yeah.
And this is just the start. I mean, really, what's to come here in this race? And this has been the race that all of Texas has been talking about, but more importantly, the country has been talking about as well.
Yeah, I think part of the reason for the turnout, the Brett Kavanaugh confirmation hearings, which got so much interest and so much exposure to the public, it was a really tough fight. A lot of things were said, and I think that energized people from the left and the right and even moderates, and I think that is helping part of the turnout here in Texas, those historic confirmation hearings, which quite frankly went down to the wire.
Yeah, these really bigger issues that are motivating voters, as you said. So we were talking about the hearings, but also this weekend, a large discussion over the caravan issue and people fleeing their nations of Honduras and Guatemala as well. And President Trump very active on Twitter this weekend, especially yesterday. He tweeted, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador were not able to do the job of stopping people from leaving their country and coming illegally to the U.S.
So here we are. The steps have been rolled up to Air Force One, and any moment now, President Donald Trump will be departing the plane, and then, of course, will be making his way downtown Houston to the Toyota Center for a rally that is scheduled to start at about 6:30. I think he's going to be on time for the rally. Should not take him long to get downtown with that motorcade escort that he will get. And let's see who is with him. Perhaps just mostly staff members, but
we'll
he
see.
Should be coming out. I would bet that he'd be the first person to come out. What do you think?
That or someone with Secret
Service.
Yeah. Yes, I think that's usually the first person out the door, but we'll see here shortly.
Somebody in shades and an earpiece on.
Right, scoping out the scene before the president takes a step off that blade.
That's already been done.
Right.
You know, they closed
the whole area has been swept. Yes, you're exactly right. And as we're looking at the picture here on the left at Ellington Airport, this is what awaits President Trump on the right-hand side of your screen at Toyota Center. 18,000 people packed inside, a very enthusiastic crowd.
And it's a big deal for not only the voters and supporters, but it's a big deal for the city of Houston. It's a big deal for HPD because this is a security thing. They shut down streets around Toyota Center starting last night, and they will be closed until about 10:30 tonight. So that's a 24-hour period where they have an area around Toyota Center on lockdown. And of course, before anybody even gets in Toyota Center, they have to sweep the place. So this is always the issue when the president travels, intense security, and in these day and times, you know, they have to be extra careful.
Every precaution.
Every precaution is taken as we wait for, if you're just joining us now, just after 5 o'clock, into the 5 o'clock hour, President Trump, Air Force One, has landed. The door is open, and we're waiting for him to make an appearance at any moment now. To appear for the Make America Great rally for Ted Cruz.
The thousands excited there to see both him and Senator Ted Cruz on stage tonight at the Toyota Center. But as we're talking about the excitement, President Trump really just as excited as Cruz supporters and Trump supporters, tweeting big night in Texas earlier today. Also tweeting, wow, thank you, Houston. Commenting and piggybacking off a video of people lined up and camped out outside of the Toyota Center, letting people know that he would see them in a few hours. A tweet from him earlier today.
So just to give you a sense of how difficult it is to become a Democratic senator from the state of Texas, it has not happened since 1988, folks. So what Better or Work is trying to do is upset the political order and pull a stunning win here if he were able to do it against Senator Ted Cruz, the incumbent. And remember, Cruz basically came out of nowhere. He was a Solicitor General in the W. Bush headquarters and on the staff, and he ran for senator against not an incumbent, but a veteran politician from the Houston area, and shocked everybody and won. And so he was on that job for not very long, and then he ran for president and almost beat Trump in the Republican primary. So he's come a long way in a hurry.
And now the interesting scenario about that is things are somewhat flipped. Cruz, the incumbent, the very familiar face, not just here in the state, but on the national scene as well. Beto O'Rourke making his way up through the ranks, now challenging that big name.
And though he's a congressman from El Paso, he wasn't that well known outside of El Paso. He's been a city council member, then a congressman. I don't think Beto O'Rourke has ever lost a political race. But he's got a tough mountain to climb here. And here he is, though. Some people think he has higher aspirations beyond just the Senate, given how much money has poured in from outside of Texas for his campaign, quite a bit of it. So, and of course, we know those people can't vote in Texas. And that's what Senator Cruz has pointed out. He said that O'Rourke is a darling of the left and a darling of Hollywood, but those people do not vote in Texas. So we'll wait and see how that turns out. Again, we're waiting on President Trump. He'll be stepping off of Air Force One any minute now. That's on the left. On the right, of course, the crowds waiting for the president downtown Houston at Toyota Center.
And our Jason Miles is inside Toyota Center. He's been watching supporters gather there. Jason, how's it going?
Hey there, guys. Yeah, I've gone from the basically the basketball court, if you will, where all the people are down there standing. Below the stands, I've gone up on the media risers. Now I'm way up in the stands along one of the aisles where a lot of people are going basically to get some food as they await the president's arrival. Hey, see me? I'm talking to some Trump fans over here. This young lady, Marcella Mitchell, says she's a veteran. She came out to hear the president, see what he had to say. Veterans Affairs, very important to her. Other people telling me how they're more concerned about immigration. They want more tax cuts. And every few moments, you see that? A wave comes around and people are holding these signs that were handed out a while ago. Keep America great, drain the swamp, women for Trump. And it's the atmosphere much like a sporting event with the wave, the loud music, the hot dogs, the popcorn, the sodas. Everyone eagerly anticipating the president's arrival as we await him to exit Air Force One down at Ellington Airport. I'm figuring it'll take him, what, maybe 15, 20 minutes with that motorcade to get here. Maybe not even that long. We're told when he gets here, he'll meet with some donors and some other supporters inside the arena in a area in the back. Then he will come out, make his public endorsement of Senator Ted Cruz, other remarks, and it should be a big night for a lot of these people who have been waiting for this event since late last night. I know I was working last night during the 10 o'clock news. We were showing people camped out. Others telling me they got here as early as 4 or 5 o'clock this morning, and the first ones in the door came in around 2 or 2:30 this afternoon.
All right, Jason, we're going to interrupt you real quick here, Jason Miles. President Trump making his arrival now, just having stepped off of Air Force One at Ellington Airport. Soon going to make his way to the Toyota Center for a rally tonight supporting Senator Ted Cruz.
Yes, and I don't think the president has been here. Somebody can jar my memory, maybe since Harvey. I cannot recall. There's Senator Ted Cruz greeting the president right outside the motorcade. The two men have become forces in Washington, working together to carry the Republican mantle. Of course, they're fighting to hold on to a majority in the Senate as well as in the House. There's been talk that Republicans could lose the House, the Senate. Much harder, though, for Democrats to flip, but that remains to be seen. There you see them, the president on the left, Cruz on the right.
Yes, and the president making his rounds across the country. He was in Elko, Nevada on Saturday. Tonight, Houston, Texas in the national spotlight while he is here to endorse Senator Ted Cruz greeting others there. The vantage point from the camera making it a little tricky to identify exactly who, but there will be a number of people to shake the president's hand this evening. As our Jason Miles mentioned, the rally tonight will start at 6:30 with both the president speaking and Ted Cruz speaking as well.
Yeah, the president, he stands out because of the hair, folks. That's the easy part. You can see him there, and Cruz is on the right. The president greeting folks, shaking hands, saying hello. Looks like, probably Republican contingency, people who invited, to greet the president. And he just waved to folks who are standing at Ellington Airport. Oh, that's a better shot, much better.
There we go, there we go. Out from behind the limo, but it'll be a matter of moments before he gets in, as he's doing so right now, so he can start making his way, the presidential motorcade, to downtown Houston. Destination, the Toyota Center.
I think he's going to be on time. It's supposed to start at 6:30. People have been waiting since about 3:30 when they first started to let people inside the Toyota Center. So that's not too bad of a wait for folks to get in, get situated. They've been listening. You could hear Jason Miles inside, people listening to music, chatting among themselves, getting ready for the president's arrival. So I think 6:30 they will be on time. And speaking of which, coming up at 5:30 on the CBS Evening News, Jeff Glor is here. He's going to be anchoring from Toyota Center, I believe. So they find it important enough to be here as well.
And the president's motorcade taking off now from Ellington Airport, just 11 minutes after 5 o'clock. So I think they're doing okay on time. Folks, we're going to continue our special coverage here. President Trump in Houston for a rally supporting Senator Ted Cruz. We'll have much more right after this.